Hi everyone. My name is Monica Ramirez, Warrior of Love, and I'm so happy to have you here. It's really my pleasure and my honor. A while back, when I did not believe in myself, when I was working with myself, my guides start presenting and telling me your name. You're gonna start using the name Warrior of Love, and I thought, oh, that's a tough one. How do I manage that? How do I work with that? It's like, what do I eat with that? Because I was not loving myself. And they tell me, well, you have to embody it. That's the only way you can do it. So like that, you learn what is love, and you're gonna become your own warrior of love. And and since then, I started using it in my page. The beginning, it was very very hard, and I did not even show my face. I was kind of hiding behind the scenes because I was shy, and that name it was so big, and but that actually gave me the opening to learning how to love myself. So I was sick around 15 years ago. That's when I started with lupus, fibromyalgia, RA, depression. The depression that actually was suicidal depression. I was already thinking how I was gonna do it and so forth. My dad was just died. I was in a horrible marriage that I was getting beat up almost every week. It was really horrible. And of course, I did not believe in myself then. That's when, a little bit after that's when they gave me my name. I did not believe in myself. I thought that things happened to me, that I was not in control of the life. The judgments of others or my ex husband in that time was actually very profound and I was running with all these programs in that time that a woman without a man, it was nobody. I come from a Mexican culture that's pretty predisposed, and I'm more in the old ways. That's how I was raised. So, and my dad just died, and I had to have a man, even he was beating me, and because I did not believe in me, and because I did not believe in me, so it just got me worse and worse and worse. And for me, that's why it was easier to think that ending my life it was easier. But I got pregnant on my kid, on my last child, and she showed me actually the way how to love someone else so much with all the conditional love that I was needing to protect her because I did not want it to she follow the same patterns that I was. And in that time, I did not understand that it was actually programs. I did not understood what it was a program, but I knew that I didn't want my daughter to suffer beatings and feeling like that, powerless, completely powerless. So I decided to actually divorce this person, and I was very afraid. And again, but I was still running with the program that I did not that a woman can be without a man. So what I did, I got married again. But in that process, I was still sick physically and mentally. I was still and emotionally and spiritually. I was with all the sickness in the world. But he was atheist, so I was continue running with all the old me. It doesn't matter if I changed from one husband and I went to the next husband. I moved to the next husband. When I to heal myself, I have to go into a huge transformation. I was already Reiki. I already worked with energies because I was already a Reiki master, but I was needing to go more profound because Reiki was not healing me. So that's when I started studying NLP. That's when I started studying BQA. NLP is Neuro Linguistic Programmer. BQH, Beyond Quantum Healing. I became a life coach. That's when I became also life coaching. I study multidimensional energy work. I study also. I was already an artist, and I was already writing poetry since I was a teenager. I came to understand that I was a channeler. That all that inspiration that came, it was actually through my channeling. I thought that I didn't know where it was coming from, but until I started analyzing and observing and hearing my guides, like, oh, it comes from them. It don't comes from me. And that was a eye opener for me. And all these techniques that I learned, first I practiced it with myself because I wanted to heal myself. In that time, I just didn't want it to be sick. I did not want it to feel like I was powerless. I have to come from there and start believing who I was and what I was going to become, and actually start living and knowing that I can live the dreams that I wanted. And I did. And not only that, I saw how I heal myself from all this sickness and all this pain and all this swelling and all this depression. I'm not going to say that I never go sad because then I will be lying. I'm human like you and me, I'm like everybody else, but I don't go into those deep, deep, deep depressions. I know how to handle it way better than I used to do. And in the flare-ups of lupus, RA, fibromyalgia, and I was even for epilepsy in that time. But I haven't had a flare-up since long, 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 long time ago. So I don't get swollen in that way. I don't take medicines. In a way, if I heal myself, what I start observing is how I heal myself. What do I did? And I created a system of transformation with my higher self. That's called a transformational system of Monica Ramirez, Warrior of Love. And I divided in 3 levels. So, and it goes more complicated and more complicated, more complicated. The third one is where you learn how to channel, and I can give you the certificate. But today we're going to be talking about the level 1 of my transformational system. We're going to be talking about we're going to be talking about the programs, where they started, where everything start. Remember when I was getting married and thinking that I just have to have a man next to me, he can make me happy and protect me when I was going to get beat up. Well, that was a program, and that's where we're going to start. Oh, we're going to start actually before that, but not only for me. I'm going to talk about now all the human beings, how we are, because it have taken me to a few big, big teachings and learnings, but it have transformed my life. And I want to help you. That's my mission. Now, well, so let's start. Where the programs start? Well, the majority of the programs in the human beings started from the 0 to the 7 years old. That's when we're programmed. When we're born, obviously our first the adults are the ones that are programming us without even knowing. That's not their fault. Everybody's been programmed, and we're still working removing programs, including myself. So our parents and our grandparents and the schools and the daycares and the churches and every society in general, the TV, are the ones that are programming us all the time. We all take a big breath, close our eyes. Let's center ourselves first, including myself. So this is how we do it. We close our eyes, we take a big breath, and we take it to our stomach, and we let it out through our mouth. Again, let's take a big breath, and we let it out through our mouth. And again, let's take a big breath, and we let it out through our mouth. Now we're going to follow the air, and we're going to take it to our chest. Hold it, and we're going to let it out through our mouth. Again, we're going to take another big breath. Hold it, and we let it out through the mouth. Now we're gonna go to our head, hold it, and we let it out through our mouth. Again, let's take it to our head. Let it out through your mouth. Again, let's take it to our head. And we let it out through our mouth. I am here, here I am. I am here, here I am. I am here, here I am. Hi, Valerie, how are you doing? Thank you for being here. Well, let's continue. And I wanted to tell you what it means. I am here, here I am. When you call yourself, you're centering yourself. You're not talking from the past and you're not talking from the future. You're here in this moment. And that's why it's so important this to be here in the here and now. And that's the only important moment in reality, not the past and not the future. It's in the here. And well, we're talking about the programs. The programs started, like I mentioned, since the 0 to the 7 years old. And in there, we're programmed by the adults. And all the adults are programmed, everybody is programmed. We're living in that matrix that everybody thinks that they know better than the other one but they have just more older programs and the other one we have newer programs, and etc. etc. But they continue the programs. And this is to perpetuate the same program that you can observe it. But there are programs that are limit us and do not make us be happy. Like the one I explained about my life, that when I was programmed to have always a man next to me, or else I was nobody. I was somebody if I have a man next to me. That was my program. And when I started observing that program, that obviously took me to beating, it took me to be mistreated, to be cheated, to be everything. That's when I started realizing, well, maybe this program, I just grabbing the first thing I found because I'm following that program and not honoring, respecting, and loving myself. And that's when I start changing that program. But we're going to be talking more profound about that. And I just want to put this as an example. So, like that, you can see and observe how you can change your own programs. Because I did. Well, continue taking other programs, but at least that one I don't have anymore. Well, like I mentioned, they're founded or they started and they initiated in our families. And because no one knows that they're actually programming. Like another of the programs that I had is if you walk barefoot in your house, you're gonna get a cold. And the difference within that program is I did not accept it. So I'm always barefoot in my house and I never get a cold through that ever. But that was a program that they tried by generations and generations to install it on me, but I did not accept it. I was always to this day barefoot in my house. That's how I feel comfortable, and I never get sick. But you tell that to my dad that he was very into that program, every time he was without shoes in his house, he would get sick. So you see how the programs work. You accept it or you don't. It doesn't matter if they tell you. It's what you accept of the program. That's what it makes actually the real difference. Well, when a program or a belief start repeating again and again and again over and over and over, what happens to that is we can start believing it more easy, and we can accept that program more easy, unless we're stubborn like me. Like the feet. Remember the feet? It was like you walk barefoot, you're gonna get a cold. Well, I never accept that one, so I never got sick. But I did believe in the other. I did went for the other one, that a woman needs a man to be someone, and I wanted to be someone, so I was following that program. But when a program it gets repeated and repeated and repeated, it doesn't matter which one is. That you're guilty for everything and you don't deserve anything. Don't believe in yourself. Your ego is managing you. Those things, those things can get you stuck if you really believe it and if you accept it. Even if you accept the criticisms of someone and they repeat it and repeat it and repeat it to you, they're programming you. So be careful. They don't know what they're doing. It's not their fault. They're also programmed. I'm not guilting anyone for that because the majority of the people are unconscious. Even myself, sometimes I catch myself programming myself or my kids that those are the ones I adore and I don't want to, and I know about programs. So when I catch myself, I stop and I say, wait, what I said is a lie. That is not true. But because I'm conscious of what is coming out from my mouth, and that's how I can catch myself more. And you can get there, or many of you already are there. And that is important because like that we can catch us when we're programming others or ourselves. Well, but the majority of the cases, the majority of people are not conscious of what they're speaking as what's coming out from their mouth. So obviously they can harm you if you accept it. Because one thing with the programs is no programs can be installed on you if you do not accept them. So in reality, it's not the fault of anyone to trying to put you a program because you accept it. It's like an advice. When you give an advice to someone, it's up to you accept it or not. That doesn't mean that you have to do it. It's just an advice. It's the same applies for the programs. When we're kids, we don't have options because the adult is telling us how to run our lives. We're 40 years old and it's like, you can cross the street this way or you can cross the street that way. You have to hold my hand. Yeah, we have to listen to the adults. Why? Because we're 4 years old. But you're 40 years old and they're still telling you that, maybe you have to rethink it better. It depends on the age and it depends on the codependency also that you have. And codependency is I have a bunch of programs in there too. I'm still connected. Apparently I am. Okay, cool. Please, someone let me know if I get disconnected because for a moment I lost myself in the other one. Well, the programs are gonna tell you who you are, where you wanna go, who you have to become. I remember when I was growing up, my dad wanted to become a bookkeeper. I'm terrible with numbers. I'm an artist, like that's what he wanted for me. My mother wanted to I become a lawyer, like my older sister, and I did become paralegal, but that's not what I wanted to do in my life. You know, following the programs of what others wanted to do with their lives, but they didn't have the guts to do it. So now we're doing it. Now we're doing it for them, but that's not what we want. So then we get our kids and we torture them and tell them what they have to become because things that we couldn't become. That's too selfish as a human being. You don't think so? That's something for you to think about it. But in the whole program that you can all observe in this one, is that we are born, we go to school, we grew up, we get married, and we have uh, kids, and we grow old and we die. What a waste of time. You don't think so? There's way more than that. Or else, what was the point of bringing a bunch of human beings to this planet just to live a cycle of life like that? Even the plants enjoy the sun and the water, you know? And it's like we're humans. We're supposed to enjoy more things. We're supposed to grow and understand and learn more things, not only having that old program. What are you are going to become? What is your mission? That's another class completely separately from this one. In this one, we're talking about the programs in the day one of this challenge. But that's something that I just giving you a little seed so you can think about that. Well, and in those programs, is many of the things that you think you're not. That's the biggie. Why? Because you think, oh, my mom told me, like I was programmed to be the artist of the family. So I only have permission to be an artist. And I can be a painter, a sculptor, writer, poet, but that's it. I did not have permission to work with energy, healings, etc., therapies, because I did not have that permission. That was not my job in my family. You know how ridiculous that is? I can be all. If I want to be an astronaut and I have passion for that, I can study and become an astronaut if I wanted to. Obviously, that's not what I want. But the majority of the people, hi Marta, I'm glad that you're here. Uh, that I Facebook is connecting me very often. But well, what are we? Who we're gonna become, and who we're gonna become. We're breaking some programs in here, and the system do not like it. Why? Because it goes with our comfortable zone. If you observe it, in your comfortable zone, and your ego do not like to get out of your comfortable zone, so it's gonna always put different things so they can actually get you stuck and not change and not let you go out. That's something that you have to observe too. But how I was saying before I got distracted with Facebook again and see if I'm alive or not. Oh gosh, I hope I am. Well, okay. I see two people here. So that I think I am alive. Then let's continue. Well, in the program that is telling us who to be or who not to be, that's why we get confused because we think we have permission to be something or we are somebody like I was only an artist, and then I did not have permission to be the rest of the stuff that I wanted to do that I makes me happy, that make me passionate, that's part of my mission to be here, to be teaching this, to be teaching transformation, to be helping others to transform their lives like I did it to myself. And that's part of my passion too. So I have to break the old me, the old program that what the permissions of Monica have to be or not to be, so I can become who I am. Because the other one, it was with the permissions of my family. What they wanted to I become after I declined to be a lawyer or a bookkeeper, then I have the permission to be an artist, but not a healer or not a therapist. Well, that's what I am now. But I have to break that what other people tell me who I was. And that's what is something that I would like to invite you to write in your journal who you are without removing all the programs that the people have installed you and tell you who you have permission to be or not. It is very important to you know who you are and to write it down in your journal. Journal are one of the best medicines I haven't found. When we start looking for those because and then it comes the limitations. What do I want? The majority of the clients that they come with me, they don't know what they want. They know what they don't want, and they can give me hours and hours and hours and hours what they don't want, but they do not know what they want. And if you want to achieve something, you have to first to know what you want and write it down. Be specific. So like that you can get there. But if you don't know what you want, it's like getting into a car and saying, okay, let's go. And you're in the car seat. And it's like, hey, but where do I go? And you're in the car, but where are you going? You need to know the destination, or else you're going to be stuck in your car for hours, for days, for months, for years without going anywhere. Why? Because you don't have a destination. The same applies for life. When you get in the, when you know what you want, it's like having the destination. So, like that, the car can drive you anywhere, and the car is you. So, use that and write that down because that is very important in your journal. What do you want? Because that is the first step of the change, of the transformation. And at the beginning, it might come out a bunch of stuff that what you don't want, but hey, continue writing until comes out what you really want. That is very, very important. And when you think, oh, okay, I would like to have a vineyard, and then you will say, oh, but I don't have the money to do a vineyard. And so I'm never going to have a vineyard. So why am I going to think about having a vineyard? Well, when you're thinking like that, you're putting your limitations. So that's what it blocks you to dream, to wish, to want it, to actually put you directions in life. And the universe is always listening. And if you actually put away that dream, that to have that that dream, well, then it's never gonna happen because you actually don't thought and don't, that you can have it. You didn't believe enough in yourself. You did not open for the same universe to give you that opportunity. So that's why think big, dream big. If you need a big house because you have many kids, don't ask for a tiny little house. You require a house for 5 bedrooms, not two. Ask for what you really want and need. That's how the universe works. And that's how you actually get out of these programs that are limiting you at the same time. And that's the thing that limited us as a old program. The majority of the human beings, we are programmed because we have seen it have worked for generations, the poor me card. We know how our mother or our grandmothers, they play the poor me card for forever. And then my mother continued with that, and we saw how it works for them to obtain the attention, the love, the whatever they wanted. And that's a program. That's a program that that we accepted, and we continue with that. Hey, I can get as sick as I got with lupus, fibromyalgia, RA, etc., etc. Why? Because I was following that program at the same time. So you are not powerless. You're creating this life that you have around you. And it's your choice to follow the program of the poor me or not. You are creating, you're very powerful, more powerful than you think you are. When I learned to study all these programs, I learned many, many different kind of techniques that I can work with them. We can work it in this level, conscious, or we can work it in the unconscious level. I work a lot in theta level with my clients. So like that, we work it in both. So we can work in the unconscious and plane too. But I would like to talk with you more the conscious level. That is this one that we're talking in the alpha. So like that, we can transform it. And something that I wanted to mark is no one can harm you unless you accept it. That's something that it was very hard because, and more when you come with the mentality that life happened to you, bad luck happened to you, and you feel totally powerless in that moment. But in the moment you understand that you are creating your life, that you are creating everything that is around you, and you start gaining and you start believing in your own inner strength, inner power, and you can do whatever you really want to if you really wish to. That's when you start recuperating your power. Remember, the rest of them are just programs that are limiting you. As a transformational belief coach, I can tell you that was my biggest beliefs that I had when I did not feel that power. And that's why I'm teaching this class, because everybody needs to know that they're very powerful. When we observe the limitations that something when we say any limitation that something is scaring us, or something is making us lazy, or something is irritating us, or something is making us sad, that's where the programs is. If I say, oh, but I don't have the money to have that vineyard, let's put it like that, and then I think, oh, but the vineyard I wanted to put it, I don't know, in Italy, and how I'm gonna go by myself as a single woman to Italy and put a vineyard by myself. I'm 50. Oh my God. And and I become afraid. That's where is the program. Exactly. That's where is my program. And that's something that I will have to work so I can achieve that if that's what I really want. And the same applies for you. It's like you're really bored of how they treat you in your job, and you want to change jobs, but you're so afraid to let it go, that job that you have. If you're so afraid, or you just being lazy and not trying to achieve something and guess up day after day, but you're not doing it, or you want to let go your husband, and because probably, or not probably, but it's a possibility that you're not happy with him and so forth, but you're day after day and year after year you continue there, and you just like to complain. You're not putting action in that, and that sabotage that you're doing to yourself is a program that you're not observing, that you're not putting attention, and that's your limitation, and that's where you can change. At the same time, we ask ourselves where our emotions come from. It comes from that fear, that pain, that those limitations that I just talked. And if you observe those limitations, where they are coming from, that's when actually you can expand, and you can change them. But if you don't do that, you're going to continue living day after day, maybe one husband after another husband and another husband. Is like, why attract the same man? Why? Because you continue running with the same husband. You can change husbands over and over. You can have 10,000 if you want. But the problem is not the husbands that you're attracting, and all the men are like this. The problem is that you are running with the same mentality that haven't been working before. It's not going to work now. Remember, one of the, how to define crazy? They define crazy when you're continue repeating the same mistake over and over, thinking in a different result. So think about that, because that's the program precisely. And why I talk, well, first of all, today is the day one and we're talking about programs, but that's something that I want you to understand very clearly, how what it is a program and how you can observe it so you can remove it. If you don't observe it, you're going to continue doing it until you get tired, until you get bored or died. Because I was having the two programs, the poor me with I need a man, it doesn't matter, you beat me, and that was gonna kill me. The sickness of the poor me and the man that was beating me. I came out from those programs, and that's why I'm saying, until you get bored enough, or you have to get your gut, your all your force, so you can get out of those programs, because they become costumes. Those programs, it becomes very strong. It can become very strong beliefs. Not necessarily all the programs, I just want to be clear in this, not necessarily all the programs are bad. We have also very positive programs, and all of them, they come with different triggers. Let's say a program that every time you listen to a song, it makes you feel happy, or an aroma, and it makes you feel alive, it makes you feel that you're in a garden and so forth. Well, those are triggers. Or the negative ones is every time you hear yelling someone, and you imagine yourself that you're from the past, that someone is yelling at you and so forth, and it triggers you right away. We have to be aware what is the trigger, because when you find the trigger, you can find, that's your medicine basically. That's when you can find how you can change it. The majority of the human beings, we live and the past. That's why I say the present is the more important place to be. Because we live in the past, we everything we related from the past and we bring it to the present. Like I was mentioning in this challenge that I did yesterday in Spanish, I did it for 3 days. I used the example of the apple because you bring an apple, and if I tell you if I tell you apple, you're gonna start thinking in an apple that it was that your dad probably gave it to you when you were, or your mom will give it to you when you were 1 year old, your grandma, and it was a red big apple, or it was a green apple, or it was a yellow apple, or it was an apple that was getting rotten, or it was an apple that fell in your head, or you're gonna be relating all these stories from your past. That's where you're gonna be bringing. And I just say apple. If I say a house, you're gonna relate. Oh no, but a house is chaotic. It's a lot of yelling. A home is this and this and that. Why? It's not the house where you're living at. It's the house that you're thinking because you're thinking in the past and you're bringing it to your present. That doesn't have to do in your present, and it doesn't have to be in your future neither. You're just relating everything from your past. And that's how we get anchored into different programs. When we get a trauma, or when we get repeating stories, we do a snap. Our mind do snapshots, like a photograph, like an Instagram or a little video, and it save it, and it save it in our memories, in our subconscious. And when it's time to you act in something, your ego can use it against you, and you're gonna be precisely you're gonna be doing you're gonna bring it again and again and again from that bank of memories. So when you present that photograph or that image or that little video from a memory in the past, observe it. Don't get hooked on it. Just become the observer and observe it enough so you can observe where it comes from, that is not related to the person that you're making a new deal, or the person that you're falling in love, or the new house, or the new city, or the new situation you are at. It has to do with a memory in the past. And then, so like that, you can heal that past. We're talking about the programs, the snapshots. Well, in the snapshots that our mind bring from the past to the present, and we relate it. Let's say you want to find a new love, and you meet a new person, and in the moment they do whatever they do, it just trigger you in not bringing you, forgetting to bring you a flower, let's put it like that. And it's like, oh, that bring you the memory from your past relationship. They never brought you flowers, they never put attention to you. And it's like, oh, I don't want to deal with this person, this new person. Why? Because I know they're kind, you know but it's not their kind. We're relating the new person to our past relationships. This person doesn't have to do anything with it. But obviously, first of all, you need to know who you are. I would recommend that before you even start a new relationship. That's what I've been doing. That's what I've been working. And well, and so remember about the triggers. Every time you see a film or a movie that it just present to you, observe it. Just become the observer, and more because it triggered you. That's what is marking you, that you have an issue that you have to work on there. Okay, and I put you already the exercise of write down who you are. And the next one, the other exercise is gonna be what you want. And I'm gonna ask you to do another exercise. And in this one, I want you to close your eyes like we did at the beginning. And I want you to take a big breath and take it to your stomach and take it to your chest. And then imagine you take it to your head so you can center yourself. And from there, write down in your journal or in the group, what do I really, really want? Ask that. Who I am, What is limiting you to obtain your dreams? Write it down. What do you want without anyone influence? What anyone's influence? Remember, we're influenced all the time. So this is a journal for you, through you, and it's not for the influence of anyone else. And in the other exercise that I'm going to ask you to do, it is write down all the at least 15 triggers that are positive and 15 triggers that are negative. That will help you tremendously to give the steps that you actually need to become free. And this is just a little bit of my system and my transformational system from the level one. I'm going to be having the level one very soon. It's going to be online for 12 weeks. I really thank you. And my name is Monica Ramirez, Warrior of Love.